I was raised in a very prestigious white area, and I didn't have any other life to compare like cultures to. Like, I lived in the suburbs. Just like being around the people that I was around, I started like picking up on their habits, like on white people's habits and on their sort of like looks and demeanors and speech, like to the point when I remember my friends literally being like, so I feel like literally is considered a white girl word. But I remember my friends saying, Darian, like, I forget that you're black. Like, you're not like really black. Like, I forget that you're black. And me just kind of feeling like, what does that even mean? You know, because I am black.
It's a beautiful day.
It's beautiful indeed.
Headed to the People's Bridge.
I wonder how it got named that.
I wonder.
Yeah, I graduated with honors, and they gave me the banner that you see in the picture. No, I was the highest GPA in the class.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
Okay, so how do we get down there?
Over there.
Should we go down there?
Should we?
This will turn into a whole vibe.
Turn into a whole type of adventure.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Being at this bridge would be symbolic to our topic because I feel like our relationship is a bridge of worlds.
So I'm gonna get that. Once I get the certification for that, then how y'all doing?
Wow.
Doing very well, thank you.
Congratulations.
Huh?
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Maple Canyon.
This is cute. This reminds me of Seqqoÿas.
Wow, this is beautiful. Like a tropical sequoia.
Yeah. Radiating.
Radiating.
This is so cool. This is like really adventure. Looks like Parmesan. It smells kind of like Parmesan too.
Maybe it is Parmesan.
Okay, so I want you to start this conversation.
1904. It's just crazy when you think about the story that we've been told about where we come from and how we came to be here together.
Yeah.
For us to be in this space right now.
A lot of people have had to suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah. This race topic is something that I've been wanting to talk about for so long. When I was really little, I had this game, this like snowboarding computer game where it was all white characters except for this one black boy. And I would never choose him because he was a boy. My parents were like, why don't you ever choose the black character? And I was just like, I don't want to. And they're like, if you're afraid to be black, then you can't be a part of this household. And they would mess with me and put me outside of the door, outside of like the house. And I remember it felt like every single year in elementary school there was a Black History Month. Did you have those?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I felt like every year we learned about the same things, and I was always the only black person in class. If not me, if I wasn't the only one, it was maybe like one other person. And I remember I would always be so like ashamed whenever it was Black History Month that I would always pretend that I accidentally dropped something on the ground so that I could like go under my seat to pick it up, so that I like could just be like under the desk, because I was so ashamed. I felt like everybody in class was looking at me. It was a moment where I felt like everybody was really recognizing that I was different. I was definitely like ashamed, but I didn't really realize how much of an impact it had on me until I got older. Like I straightened my hair for so many years I feel like that was something that made me, to try to make me assimilate to white culture. But at the same time, I shouldn't be feeling like I have to dress in this way, dressing like black, because what even is that? Through this whole time, like through elementary school, middle school, even like I feel like in high school, I wasn't aware as to how like ashamed I was of being black. It took a long time for me to actually like admit that within myself. Once I started to realize it, I was like ashamed and also angry at white people. Like I went through a period where I was super angry at white people and felt just like white people are just like snobby and inconsiderate and fake in a way. It's something that I struggled with for a while because I felt like once like I realized it, because college is what really sparked it within me. This is around the time where like the new election is happening, all of the shootings are going on, all of these like racist things are coming up. At the same time, I'm in all of these sociology classes learning about how the inequality in this country is just like terrible on so many levels. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I was just in this place of feeling like white people ruled the world, or like white people like thought they ruled the world and try to play puppet with everybody else in the world. I feel like white people created the Matrix and was like brainwashing everyone. So I started to become racist within myself. I feel like I would say things like, oh, that's a white people thing. Even on episode 1, I was like, oh, this white people thing, like a little bit when I was talking about the whole that's a white people thing, and I was watching that politician thing. And I realized like all of the things that I say like, are white people things are things that are like bougie or like things that are kind of have like a negative undertone. So then one day I just realized, you know what? Me being angry at white people is just going to contribute to the disconnect that people have experienced. Like if I'm reacting and acting like this like mad black woman, I'm just gonna continue to create that image of black people in this white person's mind. Regardless of how I feel like this person is treating me, if I treat them with love, then I can contribute to reshaping their idea of black people and minorities as a whole. It's been really intense. It's been a journey because I'm still overcoming my ideas, and being with you has really helped me to get past that, because you know there can be this whole thing of like, oh, I don't see color, and I would love to not see color, but at the same time I see color in all forms, and I see you and I see me and I see how our skin tones are different, and I see that this difference like makes people think different things about us in this life and in this world.
I grew up in a very similar environment, predominantly white, middle class, kind of not a lot of colored people. My school was also really small. I went to a really small private school. The school would only have like 2 or 3 black people in the whole school, but it would be like a total of 80 or 90 people in the school. So what is that, like 1%? While it was always taught like everybody was equal, everybody was the same, there was always this story that was told about how there was a time when, not even 400 years ago, when there was this feeling of inequality between people.
Oh, it was like way less than 400. It was like less than 200. It wasn't that long ago. Segregation was out when my grandma was having kids.
True. And see, that's the thing. Like, it was always taught, like, it was like, oh, slavery, and then slavery was abolished, and Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery. And then it was never really talked about much. We really were only taught, like, so slavery was abolished, and then there was like a short period of time where there were places where black people weren't allowed to go and things like this. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was never really dove into. It's never really talked about that much. And I think the reason why I was never talked about.
Oh, you never really was talked about that much at your school?
No.
What?
I think the reason why is because that it's like something that still is happening.
Yeah.
We would just go by the school books, like the history books that were written for the school to pass the exams. There was never any real heart in that part of the history.
So then how did you start to realize?
Similar to how the story of when Columbus came to America is not really dove into about how the Europeans wiped out most of the native population.
Right. So what was your first experience with realizing that racism is still alive?
Honestly, it came very late in life. Like, it was something where I always knew, like, oh, some people are racist. Like, oh yeah, some people are just racist. Only in the South. Like, in the South, people are more racist and all this. It wasn't until only a few years ago when I watched this movie. It basically talks about this loophole in the 13th Amendment where slavery is still okay if the person is considered a criminal. And it dives into this history of how America propagandized black people to make people afraid of them and think that they're criminals, and to like create this criminal culture basically that started with just propaganda, and how the prison system is still designed in a way that to allow for slavery. Basically, the prisoners are allowed to work for like cents on the hour.
Yeah.
So that they can buy a pack of cigarettes a week.
Right.
Like, they're not allowed to work, but they're put to work.
Yeah.
They have to work. They have to have a job.
So
anyway,
so then how did that make you feel? Did you like once you watched that?
I cried so much during that movie. That was like the first time I really like empathized and like saw from that perspective. I was like, whoa, like this is something that actually occurs in America and has been going on in America and is still going on, and like people need to know this. I remember going on all my social media and be like, you have to watch this movie. Like, if you grew up in America, I highly recommend you watch this movie. Like, it'll show you that this perspective, like what's going on. Just since that time, my eyes have just been opening more and more and just seeing all the things. But then at the same time, coming into this place of seeing myself as a reflection of everyone else, I've been seeing more and more how we're all so the same, how we are so similar, and how we are able to relate on so many things, and how it's grown into this system now of the world where everybody is locked in the system. Like, no matter what color, race you are, you're locked in this system of like, oh, I have to work and make money, otherwise I won't be able to survive. And it's created this like security thing where we all are working, like feeling this massive thing that is
the Matrix,
basically destroying the earth. We're all working together, working our jobs, making money, paying our bills, using our utilities, using our resources, so that a small amount of people will get rich.
The 1%.
And so that's why it's so important for people to come together and not be separated by a race, and to empathize with each other about race and learn the true history and from all perspectives, not just one single perspective. And yeah.
So how did you feel like, because we talked about this a lot when we first met. I wish we had just recorded all of these
So like when we first met, the propaganda, I feel like the propaganda that has currently been spewed by the media is that black people are not attractive. Yet it's still so clear. I was in this weird headspace of like, I could see your beauty and I could see you shining bright, but then there would be times where my ego or mind or the history of my brain development would be like, oh, like it's not like you, it's not attractive.
But it's okay, because just like how he said that, I had this whole thing in my mind that like, it wasn't like that white people are unattractive, but it's like that white people are like boring and evil at the same time. Like white people are just like selfish and just like I didn't know how I could like relate. I've never been in a actual relationship with a white guy, so this has been really new for me. And
I had never been in a relationship with a black girl. I remember when we first got together, she said to me, and this like made me think like weird kinda, cause she's like, so you know things are gonna change for you now? I was like, what do you mean? She said, well, your status is gonna be different because right now you're a white male. That's the top, white male. And I'm a black female. I'm at the very bottom. And so now, like, my status is gonna go up, but yours is gonna come down. Like, we're gonna like meet in the middle.
Yeah, and that's really how I felt.
I just remember thinking like, what? Because if anything,
But you have to admit it's true.
if anything, the way that I was feeling about it was that, like, oh, like I'm with a black woman, like that's like super powerful and majestic, and if anything, it would catapult me to a new level of like being seen as more of an equal by everybody.
Huh. That's interesting. So, do you ever feel like you felt that stature though of being like?
I've never thought that being with you in public has lowered me. I've always.
Okay, well, let me ask you this: before
when
we
we're
met,
together in public, it like brings us up to a whole new level that I've never experienced. It's the perfect place to go.
right?
I love this trail.
So let's talk about our experiences that we've had together.
Swirlers! We got some swirlers!
Yeah. And it's funny because a couple people in different places called us that within a short amount of time.
Yeah, like was like a little spurt of like a bunch of
Yeah.
people were saying that. I wonder if there was some sort of meme going around.
Maybe. Oh.
There was one
my
time we were
gosh.
laying out at my parents' house. We had just gone swimming in their pool. And we're just laying out there and my mom comes out and she's like, looks like we got brownie and ready.
And we're like, the brownies are ready?
And we're like, the brownies are ready? And then we're like, oh, brownie and ready. Because I was like looking a little red. I think it was a jab at me, really. But it was just funny to hear her say that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I feel like the energy we've gotten from our parents about our race has been interesting. Yeah, my dad was like, I could just tell that he just was feeling some type of way about Ryan. And I asked him, I was like, how do you feel about me being with like a white guy? And he was like, I want you to be with whoever makes you happy, but I would prefer for you to be with a black guy to like continue on our race. And I feel like that whole thing of continuing on our race is very like Hitler-Aryan.
It's similar to carry on the last name. And it's and it's another reason why we changed our last name, because it's like, what are we carrying on really when we keep last names that were created back in these times of segregation?
Right, and especially if you don't know like the full history of your last name, you're carrying on so much energy
that you have no idea about.
And you're identifying with that energy. If you don't know, then why hold on to it?
Yeah.
So I feel like the cure for racism is interracial love.
Showing what's possible.
Yeah, showing what's possible and stepping outside of your like sameness to experience something else. It is funny when we come into little cultural things that just show how differently how the segregation is created,
and a lot of times it happens around major brands.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how that is the case. It's just seeing how much money separates people. Because the whole thing was money. It was like, oh, these people are so different. We can make people think that they're not people and like make a lot of money. Because they're still people, but we can say that they're not and we can make money from it.
Yeah.
And that whole thing is just, it still goes on to this day. We're all people making people money.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna dive more into this when we talk about the news and other things. If you like this video, thank you so much for watching. We love you so much. Please hit the subscribe button, like this video, comment what you liked about it, what you think that, we would love to hear your opinion, thoughts, anything.
Ask yourself a question. Are you racist? Because if I ask myself that question, I'd have to say I was. And sometimes there's a small percentage that still tries to live in me through my ego. But it's being killed right now. It's being extinguished. And you've helped me, really. You really helped me, like, really heal my racism. Because colored people can be racist too.
Yeah. It's like this. It's just how I feel. Yeah. I'm so in love with you. All the things that you do, and the way that you move, and the songs that you choose. So in love